Well, the people have voted, so this week's video will be me ranking every single ongoing manga in Weekly Shonen Jump. I made this little tier list here. As you can see, it has every ongoing Shonen Jump manga as of April 2023, and I also added a couple of Jump Plus manga because I can. My ranking for this tier list will be The Kings, Great, Good, I've checked out mentally, Die, and got cancelled while recording this video. And also, this just came out. Working our way from the bottom to the top, but we're gonna start off with TenMaku Cinema in the This Just Came Out tier. Yeah, this one literally just started 2 days ago, and it's fine. I'd probably put it in, none of these tiers because it's only been one chapter, but it's okay. It's done by the duo behind Shokugeki no Soma, aka Food Wars, aka Those Freaks. So if you're into that, and you're into movies, you might like this one. Had an interesting first chapter, so I'll follow it to see where it goes, but I'm not expecting too much. There was a great manga that started on Jump Plus called like She Battalion, and that one also has to do with movies, but I love the psychological and horror aspect of the first chapter, so I recommend giving that one a try. Next up in the got cancelled while recording this video tier, I'm gonna have to put Ginka and Galuna. Actually, I think the G in Luna is silent, but I don't really care too much, and neither did Shonen Jump, that's why that's got X'd. This one really wasn't bad, and I really enjoyed like the art and the characters, and had a really interesting world setup, but the pacing was absolutely insane. Like, it really killed the series. It's also one of the few manga in Weekly Shonen Jump that actually has a lead female protagonist. It had really cool monster designs, and the stuff with Ginka's backstory was actually pretty gnarly. I really did enjoy it a lot. It seemed to have sold relatively well, with volumes 1 and 2 totaling in 200,000 units sold, which is pretty great, but unfortunately it got the axe and it will be lost in time, like tears in the rain. Anyways, let's go to the Die tier. First thing first, I'm putting Roboco here because I am a hater. Yeah, no, I am just not a fan of this sort of comedy manga. You could do good comedy manga, and this one is not it for me, I'm sorry. The gags don't land for me, it's all just referential, and it's like, hey look, we referenced this other Shonen Jump property that's better, and it's like, great, thanks. Sometimes I read a chapter and it has like something cool going on, but I could not be bothered to stay up to date with this. I am just not a fan of this. Some people, love it, and I can't take that away from them. I'm not gonna try to take it away from them. If you find this funny, if you find this referential humor funny, then, all the more power to you. I just don't like it. And standing right alongside me and Roboco in the Die tier is Ichigoki's Under Control. Yeah, whereas Roboco is focused on referential humor, Ichigoki is actual humor, like mostly gags, but then, you reference things like Dragon Ball, but it's just not funny for me, man. This sort of manga, or like comedy manga in general, is always hard to critique because like comedy is subjective, manga is subjective. If you find it funny and I don't find it funny, then like who's right, But this is my tier list and my video, so I get to say whatever I want, and if you get angry, then I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. Yeah, if you don't know the story behind this manga, it's this guy who died and gets turned into a robot, and like his childhood friend pilots him like a mech, and it's just like, whatever, bro. The art somehow reminds me of Kimetsu no Yaiba, I don't know why, but it just does. This video is being recorded on April 11th at 8 PM, so if this manga gets cancelled in the time it takes for me to upload this video, that will be very funny but also tragic. Hey everyone, Future Ash here. In the middle of me editing this video, they cancelled this manga. Thanks. I mean, I guess the funniest thing about this manga was like the second to last chapter I read where like they're trying to find the Dragon Balls to like restore the little child into like her normal size, and then they're flying over US airspace and they immediately get arrested. I mean, that made me genuinely laugh. But that's really the main thing this series had going for it, and I don't see it lasting very much longer if I'm being brutally honest. In the following tier, the tier, we have Blue Box. I tried reading this for a while, but I dropped it, and I'll be honest, I just do not love triangles, bro. I cannot deal with these. I've read a ton of great, like, rom-coms, like Skip and Loafer, and Sweat and Soap, and Kaguya, so when you read, like, the zeniths of the medium, and you're subjected to Shonen Jump rom-com, it's just like, oh, man. The art's pretty. I like how the mangaka, she's very talented, and I love how she draws, but I don't like how the color pages are pretty much always just the main girls just kind of standing there. This manga isn't necessarily bad, it's just not for me, man. It really isn't. I just do not dig this type of school, sports, romance. It is just not my scene, and I dropped it after like 20-something chapters. I think the last thing I remember about this manga was like one of the characters talking about Monster Hunter or something, but that's when I started to clock out. I know people online, they love to praise this series, and if they love it, they love it. That's great, man, but I just cannot deal with this, bro. And speaking of manga I could not deal with, next is Elusive Samurai. I dropped this one sooner than I did Blue Box, and it really has to do with the historical aspect of the manga. The art's pretty, it's done by the same guy that did Assassination Classroom, and he's doing a great job here, but I just could not really vibe with anything that's going on if I'm being honest. It's based around Japanese history, important Japanese figures throughout history, and it's like, I don't know who these guys are, bro. And look, I wouldn't have to know who these people are, but it seems as though their characterization and the events of this manga are based off of actual Japanese history, and I just cannot seem to follow it. That's my own shortcoming, really. I'm sure it's great. I also think it's getting an anime soon, so maybe I'll give it a shot then. But yeah, no, I just cannot really vibe with this manga. I read like around 20-something chapters of it, but I wasn't really feeling it, so I didn't really bother subjecting myself to it. And lastly, in the same tier, we have Cypher Academy. I made a video the other week talking about manga that I've dropped, and Cypher Academy was one of those manga. I'm not even going to say anything, I'm just going to show you pages from this manga, and you'll understand why I dropped it. But with that, it takes us to the next tier, the I've checked out mentally tier, and starting things off with Boku No Hero Academia. I've been reading Boku No Hero since high school, and I graduated from my master's like the other month, so I've been around for this series for a long time. And I just feel as though this manga's just been going on for way too long, and it's just been negatively affecting it at this point. There's a lot of things about it that I still love. Like, I still love the entire, villain arc, and just the stuff with Dark Deku was, pretty interesting, and there's so many aspects about it that I loved, but I just wish it was better, bro. That's really the main thing. Not sure if this is a hot take, but can someone tell me why the main trio in Boku no Hero was not Deku, Ochako, and Ida? They had such a fun chemistry and friendship, between the three of them, that I would have loved to see throughout the entire series, but Horikoshi just made it Bakugo, Deku, and friggin' what's that shoddy's name? Oh god, Todoroki. And here's another hot take, I find Endeavor a lot more interesting than his son Todoroki, I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. Plus, I've been watching Iruma-kun with my wife, and it's you have an entire, class of characters there, but they're all getting equal screen time and time to shine, whereas Boku no Hero just focuses on, a few characters out of, dozens of hundreds of potential characters, bro. And, minor spoilers for, recent chapters, but now they're showcasing, the rest of Deku's class, and it's bro, this manga's almost done, dude. Why are you showing them off now? It feels like too little too late, and poor Horikoshi is really suffering and constantly having to go on break for his physical health, and it sucks, dude. I just hope he can end it within this year. And unfortunately, standing alongside Boku no Hero is Mashle. I liked Mashle a lot starting out, but again, it's as the tier implies, I just kind of checked out mentally with the stuff going on currently. You've had some fantastic fights full of spectacle, and I've started to grow, warmly towards the supporting cast, but I don't know, man, just something about it. The main draw for Mashle, for me, was the idea of having a manga about a main character who doesn't have magic, like Asta from Black Clover, and he's able to compete in a magician-driven world using nothing but his muscles. And you do get that. You get some really funny and creative fights when Mashle, beating his magician opponents utilizing his muscles, and it's humorous. But I guess it also suffers from the thing that One Punch Man does, which I haven't caught up in One Punch Man, but you know how Saitama can beat everyone in one hit, so a lot of manga is focused on, everyone else? Yeah, that kind of happens here in Mashle. where we spend a lot of time with the side characters instead of, Mashal himself, but everyone's just kind of one-dimensional, I guess, like kind of one note. Like, they have great moments, don't get me wrong, like a lot of the characters have really good moments, but nothing like outstanding, you know what I mean? The anime for Mashal started like the other day, so, it's still good fun, and if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. I'm gonna be saying that a lot throughout this video, but that's really how I feel, because, like, I don't want anyone thinking that, like, I hate anyone that enjoys these series I don't like, because that's stupid, dude. Like, we all like what we like. But, yeah, Mashal, Boku No Hero, kinda clocked out. I can expect these two manga to end within this year, and I'll just feel like, alright, that was a solid, like, 6 or 7 out of 10. But now, we hit into big league because we're getting into the good tier, and we are starting things off with the Ichinoshi family's Deadly Sins. I don't know if you guys read this dude's other manga, Takopi. That manga is hell, dude. That manga is terrible. I remember finding it, and like my friends and I just read through it all, and we were just laughing at just the utter despair that the main character went through. It is just insane. But thankfully, this manga is not like that. It's got a unique premise. Main character and his entire family has amnesia, and they're trying to figure out what the hell exactly were they like before they got amnesia. But there's a lot more to it than that, and it's cool. I dig it a lot. The current stuff going on is interesting. I don't know how much longer this manga is going to go for, not in the sense that it's going to get axed, but I don't think it's a very long story to tell. It seems to be doing well, so hopefully, it continues for however many long chapters the mangaka needs. But it's fine, I think it's good. I think it is a good manga. And right alongside it, I'm going to put Fabricant 100. Not much to say about this one other than, yeah, it's good. I like the premise, it's interesting. The main character is fun, his companion's pretty. I like the art style, it's really unique. Fights have been fun, characters have been creative, the whole world as a whole is pretty creative, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. Hopefully it doesn't get axed, fingers crossed, but I'm hoping for the best. Nothing really creepy going on with the main character and like the big tall woman and the main character who is a child, so that's something it has going for it. Yeah, no, I mean, there's really no other way to describe it than just, yeah, this is good. I like it. Right next to it, I'm gonna put Hunter x Hunter. This one is tough, really. I was debating putting this one in the I've checked out mentally tier, but it's just a mess of a production, and it also does mean a lot to me. The anime is one of my favorite anime of all time, so I don't know, man. I love pretty much everything that's been happening prior to this Dark Continent arc, because it's, like, impossible for me to follow, dude, genuinely. It's so convoluted with, like, the characters introduced and, like, all these factions, and we haven't seen Gon in I don't know how many years. Kurapika is the protagonist now, which is fine, that's totally cool, but it's like, man, like, yeah, I'd say I've checked out mentally, but then you have really cool stuff like that recent Phantom Troop backstory, and it's like, oh, come on, Togashi. I hope Togashi can work out some way to have this story finished. I also wish, like, maybe it ended, like, after the end of the chairman election arc, but it's just whatever at this point, man. Togashi, take care of yourself. It's hard, man. I know you've been struggling, and this manga is not worth killing yourself over, bro. I know it's like your life's work, but come on, dude. And speaking of manga that I was debating putting in the I've checked out mentally tier, here is Black Clover. It's really more so like the last arc that has me checked out for Black Clover, which I guess is also applicable to Boku No Hero. But with Black Clover is more so like, whatever, I mean, I'll live. I still like it, you got a lot of cool stuff going on. Nothing outstanding or revolutionary. It is, a by-the-book shonen, but it does it right, and there's a reason why, by-the-book shonen work. They're great, it's a great template to fall back on. Why else do you think the Dragon Quest games are, like, fantastic? They are the most fundamental by-the-books RPGs, but the fundamentals are fantastic, so it works out. Asta is a good kid, I like the entire cast for the most part. I guess my main thing is that a lot of battles have just kind of been, alright guys, we gotta hold everything off until Asta shows and, beats the big bad, and I'm not a fan of that sort of thing. Some folk, they're big on the protagonist of the manga being like the crux, but I mean, I'm just not big on that. I just like it when everyone has their time to shine and everyone has power and they don't have to rely on the main character, you know what I mean? I guess Mashal's also kind of like that, but that's its own can of worms. But now, we are moving on to the higher echelons, and we're going to start things off in the great tier with Mission Yozakura Family. Yeah, man, okay, so I'll talk about this one because I don't think too many people read this, but some people have compared it to Spy X Family, to which I say, no. Yes, there is a family of spies, but it is nothing like Spy X Family. It's a very creative shonen in which the main character is married into a family of spies, and he gets to know them, gets to know their personalities, their quirks, how they operate, and just the world of spies as a whole. They go on crazy missions, and there's all sorts of like cool powers they got called like a blooming, and like all these shenanigans going on. It's really good stuff, and it's getting an anime next year, I believe. Just like a genuinely solid manga, like nothing revolutionary, but everything it does right, and I think it's great for that. Art style is very unique, it has a small but very passionate fan base that I hope grows when the anime comes out, so I'm just hoping for the best really for this manga. I wish it all the success in the world. The same can also be said about Undead Unluck. This one had a bad start, I'm gonna put that completely out there. It is gross, it is not good. Like, the first couple of chapters of this manga are rough to get through, it's really not great. But it does start to pick up steam and becomes fantastic, consistently fantastic once it does, and it is one of my favorite ongoing manga, period. I had to put it in great tier because I didn't want to overcrowd the top tier, but I love this one, dude. So basically, I'm gonna just explain very quickly. Main character, her name is Fuko. She has the power of unluck, where anything that touches her skin, and as long as she has an attachment to that person, they are struck with unluck, whether it be like a pipe falling on their head or like lightning or what have you. Main character, Andy, his power is undead. He can't die. And he wants to die. So he's like, hey Fuko, why don't you use your unluck on me to kill me? And that's why the first couple of chapters are pretty grody, because if you have a character who can give you better unluck if she's more attached to you, and you have a character who wants to die desperately, it's not good. But it gets fantastic when they introduce all these different characters with different abilities, and these abilities are just so fun and so creative, and the fights and everything. And the entire final arc has the potential to make this series have like just one of the best final arcs of anything ever, dude. The finale arc of this manga is everything Tokyo Revengers final arc should have been. So if you read Tokyo Revengers and suffered through that, just know that Undead Unluck just does everything better, dude. Cannot recommend this one enough, and it's getting an anime soon by David Production, so look out for that. And lastly, for the great tier, we have Witch Watch. This one's just like one of the funniest damn manga around. It is genuinely so funny, so well drawn, so well written. I have nothing but praise for this one. I love the entire cast of characters, and the manga keeps introducing new characters, and all of them are great. There's not a single miss. It's just all hits. Basically, main character, Nico, she's a witch, she's an apprentice, she has to save the world or something, she's one of the last of her kind. She is accompanied by her homie, her home ogre, Mori, who's been her friend since childhood. She loves him, he's dumb as hell, it's adorable. And you have everyone in this manga is just so great, dude. I love them all. There is an entire chapter dedicated to just jeans and denim, and it is so interesting and so out of nowhere. And there's an entire B-plot involving one of their classmates who makes manga alongside their teacher. And sometimes the chapters are chapters from this in-universe manga, and it's the best, dude. It just drops you in with no warning, and you just have to figure out what's going on. It has some referential humor here and there, so I guess, what I said about Roboco could apply here. However, I like Witch Watch. I don't like Roboco, so that's why Witch Watch is in great tier, and Roboco is in die tier. But now, is the time you've all been waiting for. That's right, it is time for the Shonen Jump Plus Highlight Hour. Starting things off in the Jump Plus not as good tier is Kaiju number 8. This one's fine. The art's very clean and angular, and the action, despite being chaotic, is very easy to follow and comprehend. Plus I like a lot of the characters, but I just really haven't been feeling it recently. It's more so like the past couple of chapters instead of like the manga as a whole, so I'm just assuming like this current arc is just kind of like a dull period for me, but there's still some great parts about it. To give a brief summary of it, you have the main character Kafka, who is a cleaner who cleans up bodies, typically after kaiju attacks, who suddenly turns into a kaiju number 8, and then he fights kaiju, and it's great. Yeah, I kind of like the beginning portion of this manga a lot more than where it is now, but it's still fine. It's getting an anime. Kafka doesn't look too great in the anime right now, but it's fine. Maybe it'll look better in motion. And alongside Kaiju number 8, in the not as good Jump Plus tier, is Spy X Family. Mind you, when I have these manga in the not as good Jump Plus tier, I still think they're great. Like, I think they're like good manga. They're up there with like the good manga I have listed, but it's like, there's some aspects that are holding it back for me. I've been following Spy X Family for like the past couple of years, way before I got an anime, and I think it works a lot better in the manga format because the comedic timing is a lot better and I just adore the art. But some of the recent stuff just hasn't been doing it for me. Like, there's been an arc where like Anya is being held hostage and that was great. But I don't know, man, something about it just hasn't been hitting the same for me. I like it when the manga gets serious, like for example the Lloyd backstory part. Oh, that's fantastic, like genuinely great stuff. It's still a great time, and I'm still, looking forward to reading every new chapter that drops, but it hasn't been hitting the same as it once was, but, hopefully it hits those highs again soon. I'm assuming you know about Spy X Family, because it's been really popular, but if you don't, Lloyd is a spy, has to make a family in order to work undercover and, figure out what's going on with this politician, adopts a daughter, she's a psychic, gets a wife, she's an assassin. They all don't know about one another except for Anya because she's psychic, and hijinks ensue. It's cute, it's fun, it's inoffensive. Go give it a shot. Manga is better than the anime, but the anime is still fine. But now, we got the Jump Plus Kings, baby. And you already know what exactly I'm going to put in here. We're starting off with Chainsaw Man. Come on, what can I say? I love it to Dennis. He does the chainsaw. He goes, do. It's so great. If you're watching this video, if you're watching this channel, you probably already know what Chainsaw Man is. I don't need to tell you anymore. Go watch it, go read it. It's beautiful. But what you probably don't know about is another Jump Plus manga, Goku Rakugai. This one owns 7 chapters, absolutely amazing art, really unique character designs and monster designs. The choreography for the fights is stellar. It is just fantastic, and I'm looking forward to each and every new chapter as they drop. No complaints whatsoever. The main female lead, you know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, she's damn. And last but certainly not least is Dandadan. 2 problems with the series. 1, mangaka kinda sometimes suffers from same face. 2, opening few chapters has weird, non-consensual stuff that I don't like involving high school students. It's only like the first chapter. After that, they kinda get rid of that, and boy, oh howdy, is this manga fantastic. It got a physical release, it's over 100 chapters right now, nothing but consistently good, creative, imaginative, crazy alien fights, and it's just so fantastic, dude. If you're not sold on it, let me tell you the premise. Main character, kind of a nerd. He loses his balls, and then he has to go get his balls back from yokai. It's dumb, it's fun, has a lot of heart, a lot of soul. Give it a read, you will not be disappointed. But now, it is time for the 4 Kings. And let's start things off with One Piece. It's One Piece, bro. I mean, what can I say? Genuinely, what can I say? There's so many One Piece specific YouTubers out there. What can I say, man? I've been into One Piece since I was 6. If I never got into One Piece, I wouldn't be here on this, channel talking to you guys right now. I would not have met my current friend group or my wife if it wasn't for One Piece. So that's really all I gotta say about that. If you love it for a reason. If you hate it, you're wrong. But One Piece is where it belongs. Standing alongside One Piece is, in my opinion, Jujutsu Kaisen. Despite, my inherent bias towards Jujutsu, I am still able to talk about the parts of it which I think could be better. Specifically how it just kind of kills off a bunch of characters when the mangaka feels that they're done with them. But I just love this manga so much, and I cannot wait to see it completed and just see what exactly Gege is cooking, because they've been cooking for a while now, and I've been happily eating it all. It's not perfect, but I love it, so whatever. Right next to Jujutsu, I will comfortably put Akane Banashi. It's a very unconventional manga from Shonen Jump, having focused on stand-up comedy, which is a lie, I just lied to you. It's focused on Roboco, which is like sitting down storytelling, but it can be funny. Part of my love for Akane Banashi comes from a Roboco anime I watched a few years ago. I think it was called Showa Roboco Kenju or something along those lines. It was fantastic, I love that one. Roboco is essentially Japanese performing storytelling. It's like a one-man band type deal. I'm not doing a great job at describing it, but it's really good. This manga is really good. Art style is super unique. It reminds me of Golden Kamui in the sense that everyone got crazy eyebrows and the artist is not ashamed of it. I love how all the characters are written. I love how the artist is able to convey the Rokugo stories in the background, and it's just so like imaginative and fantastic to read through. It looks like it'll be sticking around for a while. It's been highly praised in and out of Japan by all sorts of like famous figures. I think Hideaki Anno, the guy from Evangelion, or rather the guy who made Evangelion, was like, yeah, go read this. So I think this one's gonna be around for a while. Great stuff. Main character, Akane, she's adorable. I love her. She's my daughter. Don't hurt her. God bless her soul. She's trying to avenge her dad, who got brutally killed. That's not true. He got exiled from the Rokugo community because of whatever reason. So Akane is just trying to avenge him. And speaking of murder, we have Sakamoto days. Like, what can I say about this one? Quick summary. Main character, Sakamoto, former hitman, retired when he fell in love and had a kid, became chubby, has to go back into the game because his family's security is threatened, and it has some of the best fight choreography I've ever seen in any manga in my life. Clearly inspired by stuff like John Wick, while also remembering to maintain that level of fun and comedy all throughout its fantastic and gory chapters, dude. It is so brutal. It's such a great time. I cannot recommend Sakamoto enough. I hope it gets an anime that's able to properly convey its art, which I probably think it won't because it's difficult to do, but it's still a worthwhile read, and everyone who I've recommended read both Jujutsu and Sakamoto Days all come back to me telling me how much they love those series. But as this video is nearing 30 minutes, I think this is where we're going to call it quits. However, I have one special announcement. I forgot about Ruri Dragon. Yeah, when I made this template and uploaded it, I forgot Ruri Dragon, because it's technically ongoing, it's just been on hiatus. That one goes up in the Kings. I love it. It is 7 chapters, it is peak, it is so cute and sweet and funny. If it's not up with the Kings, it's right next to Witch Watch in terms of how great and consistently good it is, and it's like 6 chapters that it has. Great art. I knew this manga was going to be fantastic when the main character burned the hair of like the classmate in front of her and all he said was ouch. I knew this manga was going to be fantastic. Okay, but now for real, I think that's going to do it for this video, and I hope that you enjoyed my ranking of Kings. Look, at the end of the day, this is just my opinion, and you know this, I know this, don't get mad at me, this is just how I feel. If you want to talk to me about it, I mean, we can talk in the comments, we can scrap, but like, this is just how I feel, man. Manga is art, art is subjective, and all these manga have merit in some way or another, except you, Roboco, I don't like you. And here's hoping, even if these mangaka get kicked out of Jump, such as Oda, who made One Piece, maybe they'll find work elsewhere, or maybe they'll find work in another magazine or a webcomic or something, you know? Either way, this has been Ash, this has been my longest manga video, I think, just ever, but I hope you enjoyed it, love you all. Let me read off my patrons and close this one out. Is a Polaroid, Sour Lolita, Borpulus Vunny, Real Sethary, Luce, Venti, Sea Crowns, Kiwi Kiwi, V, Andrew, Audrey, Braystar, Silgon, Amatiramisu, Logan, Sianaru, and Jiva. Thank you guys for your support, I love you all, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and go read manga, manga's good for you.